I'm not going to show you me because if you've been following my Facebook or Instagram, you'll know that we've all been ill with the flu all week. And I look disgusting. So I'm just going to we're going to have a look at this article from the Standard, and the byline, whatever you call it, is "Most parents aren't equipped to home educate," says Amanda Spielman. Amanda Spielman is that creature who's in charge of Ofsted. So we'll just read it and then I'll tell you why it's crap. So, the Evening Standard. Most parents aren't equipped to home educate, says Amanda Spielman. Head of Ofsted will say the register of children educated at home may prevent tragedies like the death of Arthur Labinjo Hughes. Sorry if I've said that wrong. Many parents are not equipped to home educate their children at home, the head of Ofsted is expected to say to heads. Ofsted Chief Inspector Amanda Spielman is expected to welcome the government's announcement of a new register for children educated at home, adding that a small number of parents have dark motivations for taking their children away from their teacher's sight. She will say many parents are not equipped to educate their children at home. Addressing the Association of School and College Leaders annual conference on Saturday, she is expected to say, "We need to recognise that home education is very hard. It's tragic that Arthur Labinjo Hughes never returned to school after lockdown. He was supposedly being educated at home. Most parents aren't equipped to do it, and if they are motivated by their own or their child's anxiety, rather than a deeply held desire to home educate, the outcomes for their child are unlikely to be great," she will add. Advert. We should also remember that sadly a small number of parents have darker motivations for taking their children away from their teacher's sight, she is expected to say, raising concerns over a recent increase in home-educated pupils across the UK. It's tragic that Arthur Labinjo Hughes never returned to school after lockdown. He was supposedly being educated at home. Arthur was murdered in June 2020 by his stepmother, Emma Tussin, at their home in Solihull. The 6-year-old boy had been seen by social workers just 2 months before his death, but they concluded there were no safeguarding concerns. Ms Spielman will say she is delighted by the government's recent announcement of a register for home-educated children, adding, "We all know that no single piece of legislation can prevent tragedy, but this feels like an important foundation." Ms Spielman will tell heads there is a need to help parents who are still hesitant about their children returning to school with attendance, a stubborn problem in some quarters. She will say that Ofsted's recent report on attendance revealed that the causes of persistent absence now are often no different to pre-pandemic, but they have been exacerbated by COVID. Children from families under financial strain or from those experiencing domestic or substance abuse have always been more prone to absenteeism. We know these problems grew through the pandemic, so unsurprisingly we're now seeing more children failing to make a consistent return to the classroom, she will say. Other children who have become more anxious during the lockdown may have begun to believe they are better off away from school and their peers, making it more difficult for them to return to school, she will add. She will also highlight how some parents have a more relaxed attitude to absence, whether long-term or to enable family holidays in term time. They have seen that other people's children are away from school and so accept the same latitude, she will say. Ofsted's inspectors found children had missed school due to parents rescheduling or rearranging term time holidays, a report found in December. In February, the government announced it would create a register for home-educated pupils. In November 2021, the Association of Directors of Children's Services estimated that there were 115,542 children being home-educated, equating to a 34% increase since 2019-2020. Ms Spielman will say that families with children with special educational needs have struggled the most during the pandemic, and that some pupils would have found the pace of learning at home more comfortable. My nose is running a mill. It's an absolute priority that services support children to take part fully in school life, she will say. That's it, look. But, right, let's pick this apart. First of all, just because it's there, she says that SEND pupils might find the pace of learning at home more comfortable. So because she wants them back in school, is she saying that children with special educational needs aren't allowed to work at their own pace? And also, this poor child, this poor dead boy, where is it? This poor dead boy was murdered by his stepmother. It's been confirmed he wasn't home educated. It's been confirmed he was still on the school register. And by their own admission, they'd seen social workers 2 months before his death, proving that being monitored and being on a register and having home visits doesn't stop abuse whatsoever anyway. Plus, people of the hard of thinking will read this and think that boy was actually home educated when he wasn't. Also, say he was home educated, which we proved he wasn't. One's too many obviously, but one case of abuse against how many thousand cases of abuse from children that attend school? They're just using that poor dead boy's name, which has nothing to do with home education, to try and cast aspersions and suspicion on people who are home educated, which is wrong. And for a moment there, let's just take a minute to think about how badly written this was. I mean, how many times did it repeat itself? Sorry, I'm not very well. I'm not well. And also, why do Ofsted think, there she is, there's that creature, why do Ofsted think that they have any right to comment on how home education runs? Home education is nothing like mainstream education, which they don't understand. That makes no sense at all to compare mainstream education to education at home. It doesn't make sense, does it? Where's my husband rampaging across the landing of the dog? Doesn't make sense at all. It's a completely different thing. And if Ofsted hadn't ruined the school system, people wouldn't have been forced home educate in the first place. So why are they asking the person that's ruined the school system? It's a typical thing. Rather than look at themselves and how they can improve the system and make the system better for parents so parents have more confidence in sending their children back, they'd rather just point the finger at the parents. You're not falling into line, so we're going to make things difficult for you. It's a load of crap. And I'll say again, that little boy was not home educated.